We have this cute little bear that is dressed up as a reindeer and enjoying a hot cup of cocoa. I think I'm going to start by going ahead and putting a little bit of a design here on his mug, so you can choose to do that or not do that. And I think I would like to do a little Christmas tree here. Just something really basic and fun. You can also use a micron pen if you want, but that's what I'm choosing to do for now, is just use a pencil. So I'm going to come into this mug here and paint it red. I'm going to leave that little squiggly line white, I believe. Let's see how well I do at painting around that line. But I'm just using my water brush sort of like a marker. And now I'm going to use the tip of my brush to go around each of those little areas so that I can keep the definition in it. And I'll turn my paper so that I can do that again this direction, pulling toward myself, putting the little point of my brush into those narrow triangle areas of the tree. I might leave it white, we'll see. Once you've painted over over pencil lines with watercolor, you cannot erase the pencil lines. Some of those in the tree are not inside the watercolor area, so I might be able to erase those if I wanted to, and I would use a kneaded eraser. So the next thing we'll do is stay away from his body now, so we're letting that cup kind of dry, and we'll start on his antlers. So I've got this kind of brown black up here. I've got my tester paper. I don't want it quite that dark. Looks like a nice brown. I think I'll use a combination into the two of those. And might mix a little bit on my paper because I'd like it to look different than the bear himself. And go around like so. Again, I'm using the tip of that brush. You can see very carefully drawing back. It does matter how you approach the lines because your hand cannot stay as steady from certain angles. Then I will move over to, I'm going to try to stay along that line there, leaving a little bit of the white of the paper. This is a fun little motif, so we don't have to be super accurate. Really is a whimsical drawing, meaning we don't have to go right up to that edge. I'm going to do it here because that's where his little cap is. Okay. Now I will paint his little feet. I think I'm going to make a little bit of a gray here and add a tiny bit of that brown that I already mixed up, just more watered down. You know what I forgot to do was the handle of the mug. And I'm going to come in here and put a little bit of a darker stroke. Not all the way around. Well, I kind of did that all the way around. That's not enough paint to paint my whole bear, so I have to keep mindful of how much paint I have and moving that around so that I don't run out and have half of him painted one shade of brown and half the other. So I'll come along the body here. Whoa, got right into that mug. Don't panic. It's all going to be okay. So I will be more careful, especially there where I just recently painted. I want to go around his eyes a little better so we don't leave those funny lines there. I think the word to the wise is to go ahead and let that cup dry. You're going to have a problem either way. If you do the body first, you do the cup first, you just have to let it dry longer. And you typically don't want to go around an area where you've cleaned it up because it'll just run all over again. So I'd like to put a little bit of pigment along this line so that that'll get nice and crispy. I'll fix that in a second. Just having a lot of trouble going around my microphone today, so my apologies. Couldn't see what in the world I was doing. A little more pigment in this little bear paw, I guess it is. And now I've got this tiny space in here you may or may not want to do right away. And I did put like a little bit of a rosy cheek on him. My original. I've got that in my drawing. And we want to use his same body color up here, since those are his ears, as opposed to the antlers. Just dipping in a little bit of that darker color there. It's so easy to paint. I just am not used to not waiting, or that I would have to wait because there's not enough to paint until we're done. So we'll go and do these snowflakes here, paint those up. And I'm just going to go over them not filling in all the little details, just kind of going over it with that paint. You can see it's not following the lines. It's almost like doing a circle around them, and that is a little bit dark. You can always just stamp that down if you want more of that impression. And you can either wait till it's dry or just a little bit wet. It'll kind of spread all over the place, but it'll add a little texture and dimension there. That part I just went over, so it's spreading a little bit more. And I can come around the bottom of the cup here. Maybe get a bit of a shadow across here where that little antler hat goes. Maybe I'll put a little pink up in there. So now we just have to decide, is he having coffee or hot cocoa? I think it's hot cocoa. Didn't even follow my rules on that to get the tip of your brush in there. A little bit of gray there just to fade that white down a little bit. Now we have a bear disguised as a reindeer enjoying a winter cup of cocoa.